Hi, thanks for joining me for Full Steam Ahead. For today's project, I wanted to use the laws of physics to make a 10-skirty sculpture. It's also called an anti-gravity sculpture. So what you're going to need for this project are some popsicle sticks and some string. So what we're going to do is we're going to make two separate units and tie them together, and then when it's done just right, it actually will become a balanced sculpture. Here we go. And this is done by tension and calculating where the center of gravity is and using that center of gravity to create that tension. So when this is done, you can actually put quite a bit of weight on it. Now I've seen this done with Lego. I've seen tables made out of it. There are some bridges that are made like this, and I've also seen it made out of bamboo, and then they put a plant on top. So I'll show you how to make this. The first thing we need to do to make our 10-skirty structure is make a triangle out of the popsicle sticks. So we're going to make two of them. So just put your hot glue on the corners of the popsicle sticks, and then make a triangle. And we're going to make two of these. And just be very careful because the hot glue is hot and it can hurt if you touch it. So while these are drying, you want to take two other popsicle sticks and we're going to cut them on one end at a 60-degree angle. Now I didn't have a protractor, so I made a triangle out of cardboard. So what you're going to do is just mark at a 60-degree angle, and then you either using scissors or a protractor, just cut that little piece off. Now, if you're not comfortable using a knife or scissors, please have an adult do that for you. So these are basically going to be your pivot sticks. And it's where the string hangs that balances basically the whole structure. So what we're going to do is on the opposite end of where you cut, we're going to put a hole where you are going to hang your string. So just in the middle, a little bit in from the end, just put your hole, and you want your hole to be big enough to put your string through. And sometimes the popsicle stick will break, it'll crack when you're doing this. So if that happens, just do another one. Okay, so once you've done these, then you need to put them on your popsicle sticks. So you need to figure out where the middle is on one of them and then mark that down. So here's the middle of one. So I'm going to put one of the sticks there, but then the opposite is on this corner. So we're going to put one of the sticks on this corner. And so they'll be opposite each other, pointing at each other. So just with your hot glue, I'm going to just hang on to those until they are dry. Try to make it stand as straight as possible. And once you can let go, you can reinforce it with a bit more glue at the base. They do dry quite quickly, so. Once the middle pieces are dry, now it's time to put our string on. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure, and the string is going to be about the same length as our popsicle sticks. So these are 6-inch strings, so we're going to cut them. Now these are for the corner pieces. And our middle piece, our pivot, is going to be a little shorter. So what we're going to do, you want to measure it so that it sits, they're all about the same length. Now, you want it to sit like this, so you need to put the strings on the corners that line up with the corner that you want it to hang over. Now you also want the string to hang so that it goes straight out rather than kind of sideways. That does make a difference on how it hangs as well. Now if you don't want to glue the string, you can tie it. You can make it a little longer and then tie it. Now this corner, you have to put it right on the edge of the pivot stick. And you can reinforce the string by putting more glue on over top as well. That's important, especially if you have like a heavy object that you are hanging. This one's quite light. But if you were making this and you had something heavy that was hanging, you'd want to reinforce it a little more. Okay, so we'll just let that dry for a couple minutes. While that's drying, what we want to do is we want to put string in the middle as well. So I'm going to use a tapestry needle. You can use like a pencil or something to poke the string through, but I'm going to use a needle as I find it quicker and easier. Now you don't want to glue this quite yet because we don't know what the proper tension is. So we're going to just wait until the corners are dry, and then when we hang it, then we can determine how long the pivot needs to be, as that is what will affect the balance. So once the corner pieces are dry, we're going to find that balance. And we're going to create tension in the middle so that the whole thing will balance. So basically what you're doing is you're balancing. There's a balance and then there's a counterbalance. So you have to determine, there's a lot of different equations to this. So you would need to find the center of gravity and determine how far, how much weight there is, and also how far it is from the pivot. So once you've determined what the tension is that will hold it upright and keep these taut, then you can put a little bit of glue on the pivot sticks. And then once that's dry, then you can cut the tails off the string. Now, if you did this with fishing line, it would look like the wood is just floating. But I'm just doing it with the bright green just so you can see how I'm doing it. So we'll just give that a second to dry, and then we'll cut off the tails, and then we'll be done. So the pivot is dry now, so I'm just gonna cut the string off. And there we have our 10-screw structure. Now with this structure, each one of these has tension and it's holding the structure upright. If we broke any one of these, the whole thing would collapse. So this is basically the center of the whole structure. It's creating that tension that keeps everything else taut, to keep it upright. So if we broke any one of these, I'll just show you what happens. So that's our 10-screw structure. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for joining me. If you love science and are in grades 5 to 8, Counselor Tina Petro is hosting a citywide science fair. You can go on to her Facebook page, Airdrie at Home Science Fair, or you can register on the Eventbrite event as well. Registration closes June 10th, and submissions are due on June 20th. Good luck to everyone participating.